Hello and welcome back to Penny Sleeve. My name is Voss, and I wanted to go over one thing that actually it came up during a live stream with Radish Digital last week. And after their event had finished, we got to talking about grading and is it worth it? How would you grade? What would you grade? And I want to go over something since I've been grading since way before the pandemic. I was actually grading with Beckett. That was my preferred grader, my preferred grading service. Then PSA during the pandemic came up and overtook Beckett. For some cards I do still prefer Beckett, like sports cards, like patch cards, thicker cards. I do prefer Beckett that way because their slabs are better equipped for those when it's a thicker card. But what I wanted to go over is when would you grade a card? When it comes to sports cards, let's just say LeBron James, yeah, grade his cards. He's an all-time great. His value will go up once he retires, which should be soon. Grade his cards, especially his rookie cards, any SP cards, SSP cards, higher in rarity cards. But when you want to grade a card, I would suggest taking a look at the card first. So it might not be gradable. It might not have it might not grade well. And then the value goes down. If you're not familiar with grading or the grading process, what they do is they take a look. So this is a PSA 10. Let me back up a little bit so you can see it better. So this is a PSA 10 from SP Authentic. Now, for it to get a gem rate 10, that means that it's evenly distributed on both sides. So meaning it was cut correctly, it comes exactly in the middle. PSA does give a little bit of leeway if it's not exactly centered correctly. If it's maybe like 45 this way and 55 this way, they might, if everything else is good, meaning the surface is clean, the edges are clean, the corners are good, they might overlook that and still give you a 10. But PSA has become harder to grade with and receive a gem in 10. And that's where the money lies. Again, this isn't financial advice. This is either for your PC or if you do want to invest for it. This is not investment advice. If you do, I just hold these stuff for my PCs. Maybe in the future I might sell, but in general, this is what I do. I'm a collector. I'm not a flipper or anything like that. But I have been grading for over a decade, so I'm not a professional grader, but I know a few things. So they always look at the front and back of the cards, and when you're trying to get the highest grade possible, there is some prep work you should do. If you are to clean your cards, I would definitely use one of these bad boys that you clean your glasses with. Scratch resistant. You don't want to actually try and clean the cards and damage the card while you're cleaning. So you have to use this and just scrub it down lightly, just to remove any fingerprints or anything that might be left on the card. Especially with foil treatments, the fingerprints definitely show when looking underneath the microscope, and the way graders look at cards, they definitely see all those smudges. So definitely use one of these bad boys. The other thing I highly recommend you do if you're looking to grade cards is buy one of these babies. So this is a magnifying glass that, if you can, let's see if it'll come up clear. It has little dashes in the middle. inside. So while you're trying to look at a card, let's take this card for instance, you can see the edges. Actually, for the Pokemon cards, it's easier to see the edges in the back. And you can measure the edge of the card to the other edge side of the edge of the card and see what the dimensions are. And then you can know if it's well centered or not. So it'll be left to right and top to bottom. So this is a really good tool to see centering wise. Certain cards is a little harder if there's no borders, like this one. It's a little harder to tell if it's well centered. What I do in this case, if there's no border to tell, I look online, I go to eBay, I find similar cards that are PSA 10, and I look to see, let's say LeBron's hand right here, how far is it? For a PSA 10, how far is it left or right? And I go from there. If they grade a 10, and I look at multiple versions and see where, if I look at 2 or 3, I see that his hand is exactly in that place or on either side. If, let's say, the ball is literally on the cusp of the edge and the card got a 10, that means this is well centered or close to it. So there's different ways you can go about that. With cards like this, where it's well-defined border, you could easily use this and check to see from here to here, what's the width, from here to here, what's the width. If it's good, if it's exact, it should get a 10. It should get a 10 like this one, Gem Mint. Again, and also from the top. So you just try and find the lines and you measure top to bottom. This might be a commonplace for some of you. And also, I'm sorry, before I continue, also in the back to see, because sometimes it's centered in the front but not in the back. And that you will lose points, grade points, if the back is not centered as well. The front is more what PSA looks at, but if it's really off in the back, it'll go from a 10 to a 9, or even an 8, depending. I've seen examples of that many times actually. This also is helpful to see corners, to see the edges. Go back and look at the edges. But to really get in depth with this, I actually got another tool. I got a magnifying glass, which I'll show you right now. I got one of these where you can put the card underneath, and of course you make sure it's focused, and you can see like details that you couldn't see with the other magnifying glass. So right now I have it connected to my computer. So as you can see here, if I wanted to send this card for grading, those edges right there, you see how look at that finger. I need to clean my nails, but I'm sorry. Yeah, and I just actually made it even worse. Yeah, that card wouldn't grade well because those edges are horrible. And unfortunately, when it comes to much of the first cards, because of the type of cards they used, a lot of these cards, their edges and their corners came out pretty bad. So what I usually do is any card, sports cards or trading cards or whatever it is, I check the edges. You see this edge as well. It's damaged. So even by the eye, if you couldn't tell, if you have one of these babies, you could actually see it a lot better, clear as day, that this would definitely not get a Gem 10. Probably not even an 8, honestly, the way it is. This also helps to see centering. So when you have cards like this that are black cards, they're in general very hard to grade, to get a grade 10, because any little thing, any little white spot is very noticeable. So, but here also you see the difference. If this was supposed to be well centered, you wouldn't see such a big difference from here and here. The corner line would be a little higher. I'm I've trained my eye to see this a little. I've trained my eye to see it if a card is graded, centered pretty well. Sometimes I need assistance, of course, with the microscopes, but in general, I can pretty much tell with my eye if it's centered. But this definitely helps confirm my theory. So when you go like that. Also, this helps when you're trying to see if there's any surface damage. Anything that might make you not get a good grade on a card. Of course, you don't have to connect your computer to this, but I do so I can see it a little better. So any surface damage. Here's an example. Goes back of a card that you can tell from the eye that it's off-centered, and this is pack fresh. So let me make sure it's focused. So you can tell from the eye, this line to this line, and this line to this line. This is a lot thicker than this. These should be equal lengths. So maybe if I show you here, down here, this thickness and this thickness, way off. Way off. So it should be more towards the right and higher up because the thickness on top is way thicker than the bottom, obviously. Okay, so this would definitely not grade well. It's a good card to play in a tournament or with your buddies, but I wouldn't grade this card. And on the back, it shows the same. Thicker on this side and thicker on top than the bottom. So, would I grade this card? No. But let's say if you have a mythic that are rarer, so let's say it's an SP, or it's a less chance of getting this card, you would think maybe I should grade it. With the eye test, it actually looks pretty centered in the front. All right, so on the back, it is not. So here it is definitely thicker than here. Top to bottom, it is a little more thicker up top than the bottom. Now if I put it under the microscope, you can definitely see it's thick on top. And if you look here, and the difference between the left and right, it is a little thicker on the right. Actually, I'm sorry, on the left. So this side is thicker than this side. But I can tell that from the other microscope that I have as well. Now, looking at the corners, that's not bad. The edges so far is not bad. See, there's a little white right there. A little white right there. That would negate it from getting a 10. Even if it was well centered. Maybe that little spot might not negate it, but if there's more, you see right there, that edge is a little bent up. This edge looks good. There's a little more white there. That's what's hard about grading cards with black borders. Any little thing is going to show. And these guys at the grading companies see everything. See, this is probably from, that's not on the card, that was just dust on the penny sleeve. So so I checked all the edges. Now let's check in the front. You see all that whiteness on the edge? That would definitely negate you from getting a 10. This, if it was well centered, maybe a 9, but let's continue See, there's whitening there. Just from the eye, you think, okay, it's pretty clean. The edges look good, but if you look closely, which these grading companies do, they'll definitely not grade you a Gem 10. This, as I'm continuing to look at it, this is the same edge we saw before on the other side. With the centering and the edging issues, the most this would get is an 8. I'm thinking a 7 with PSA. I know one's the first. They have been... Tag was a big proponent from the beginning when the pre-release slabs came out, the pre-release cards. Tag graded them, and actually they don't look bad in a Tag slab, but PSA is what I've always, that not always, but what I prefer nowadays, especially with trading cards. So yeah, another example that I've seen is, now that this side is way thicker. I'm trying to make it, this side is way thicker than this side, and the bottom is thicker than the top. And the same thing it shows in the back. So when you go from this line to this line to the edge, I mean, it is off-centered. These are pack fresh cards. All right, so this card that I just showed you, the edges, was pack fresh as well. But the edges are an issue. To grade wonders, I would love to grade wonders. And if a person can find a wonder, a card, that even paper, that grades a PSA 10, that will be worth money in the future. Why am I saying this? As long as everything goes well with this set of cards, and I don't know, I hope it goes to the heights of Pokemon. If it does, then anything from the first set would be worth money. The problem is, because the quality of the cuts, the edges, and the corners that come out of the pack that way, it's going to be really hard to find Gem Mint cards from Wonders. So anyone who does, those cards will be skyrocketed. Price-wise. Investment-wise. Because they are going to be so rare. And I know Mr. French did go over that when the cards first came out, when the Kickstarter first came out, that he knew the quality issues with the cards. I love the set, don't get me wrong. It is a great set to play. I just started playing recently. And from what I've seen with my previous experience with sports cards, with other trading cards, this is going to be a hard set to get graded Gem Mint. Now, another question that came up. Would you grade a 1 of 1? My answer is yes, but grade it authentic. It's already a 1 of 1. There's only one card made of this. If you want to get it protected, grade it. I will get this graded at some point from PSA authentic. I don't need to know the grade. I can tell it's off-centered from the eye test. It's off-centered, and looking from the back, I see whitening with the eye. So this would probably get maybe an 8 highest. But I'm not looking for the increased value of getting a 10. This is a 1 of 1 card. It's already high in value. I just want it protected. I wanted it PSA authentic or Tag authentic or whatever it is, just because. Would you grade an OCM? So this is I'm trying to build the rainbow. So the 1 out of 75. Thank you, Hobby Club. Actually, Hobby Club, I got both of these from on Whatnot. Shout out to them. This one actually looks a little better centered but it's still a little thicker here than here with the iTest. Top to bottom, this is a little thicker on top. And on the back, it's actually more off-centered. So this side is thicker than this side, and the top looks pretty even. But I do see some whitening over there. Whitening on the corner. If I put it underneath the microscope, you could see it is confirming what I see. Let me clear it, make it a little more clear. Just, yeah, you see those corners? That definitely wouldn't gem mint. So the edges, you see, eye test, I didn't see that. The side. So, yeah, I wouldn't grade this. I would just keep it. Oh, I might get that authentic as well, or just keep it in that. I just wanted to complete the rainbow because I love One is the First. Since I got the 1-of-1, I wanted to complete the rainbow. So the Ren Stone foil, the OCM 1 out of 75. I have already tons of the formless foils, the classic foils, the paper. I do want to actually find the formless. I want to get a formless foil in PSA 10, classic foil in PSA 10, and a paper in PSA 10. However, seeing this, I know it's going to be a tough hunt. I have to go through the cards, make sure they're clean, make sure all the edges are good. It's going to be tough. I might have to settle for getting PSA 9s to complete the rainbow. But in general, this is. I wanted to go over. Would you? I want to ask you the question. Would you grade Wonders of the First? Would you find it beneficial? If you're a collector, would you just want to keep them in regular top loaders? What do you think is best for you, for your collection? Are you looking for long-term investment value if you get it graded? Are you looking just to keep it as a PC? Please, if you have any more questions, please like and comment. Any questions I see in the comments, I might post more videos. You could always reach me at Penny Sleeve on Instagram. But that's all I got for you today. Please remember to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.